Hi friends, Zoe here. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today I have a big video for you. This has taken some time for me to sit down and decide how I want to relay this video to you, and quite honestly, I've overthought it. I sat here and restarted the video camera multiple times trying to get through without being emotional or judging myself and things like that. But you know, the only way out is through, and I feel like I really have to do this for myself. Authenticity is one of my #1 values, and I know that I haven't spoken about my diet on this channel for quite some time. I think a couple of years is the last time I made a video on being vegan, and so I know my channel is mostly about spirituality and self-improvement, but I just felt like those of you who've been with my journey from the beginning, you watched me transition from a pescatarian diet into a vegan diet or a plant-based diet, and things have shifted again in my life, and I just felt like I wanted to be transparent with you because I really value and appreciate this community, and I feel like I've learned a lot about my body and a lot about myself since I moved to Bali. And in typical Zoe fashion, I'm going to bring this forward in a bit of a story time because I feel like I love sharing my life with you. I really love sharing my life with you, and I feel like when I share, I learn more about myself, and hopefully you learn more about yourselves in this process. And I feel like I'm already getting emotional because I don't know, it's taken a lot for me to sit down and film this video. It's been a journey as I'm gonna get into, and it's just like not easy. I think a lot of the resistance in filming this video just came from fearing the internet, really, because I feel like any time that I've sort of stated a label on my YouTube channel, like, oh, I'm minimalism or talking about veganism, it's like all of a sudden you get this stamp on you that's like, that's the way that you are, and people expect you to be in that certain way, and anytime that you stray out of the box, it can result in negative comments and negative feedback. And I feel like I've definitely detached from a lot of that right now at this point in my life, but in the past it's caused me a lot of trauma to share so vulnerably online, and then to read a lot of negative things about myself from people who don't know me, who might know me from one video, when this is just a small bit of my life. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to state that at the beginning of this video, that this isn't easy for me to speak about. It is vulnerable, but as I do on YouTube, I share with you my journey in hopes that you can learn something about your own journey. So we're just gonna get into it, and I think I'm just going to start with how this journey of veganism and a plant-based lifestyle has unfolded for me and how it has shifted. And I don't know how long it's gonna be. I don't know how emotional I'm gonna get. Like I said, there's no way out but through, and I feel like this is causing me a lot of resistance in my life, and I just want to be transparent and authentic because that's who I am. Okay, so I had been vegan or plant-based for about 5 years. On this YouTube channel, you saw the journey, or if those of you who've been from the beginning, saw as I transitioned from being pescatarian into vegan. The way that that came into my life was actually YouTube, because I discovered creators like Freely and other vegan YouTubers, and I just loved watching their what I eat in a day videos. I loved hearing them talk about food and the beautiful, welcoming energy that they had to food. For me personally, the journey with food has been a challenging one. I've made a video all about my experiences with eating and how when I was a teenager it was just really difficult at certain points in time, and I feel like coming to a plant-based diet or discovering veganism actually really healed the relationship that I had with food. And so I am forever grateful for discovering that content, for incorporating into my life, for healing these different aspects of myself. When I first went vegan, it was like a switch flipped on in my life. The line of which I was, let's say, pescatarian and then moved into veganism was after watching the documentary Earthlings, which a lot of vegan YouTubers spoke about, and then I ended up watching it online one night, and I cried and cried and cried and cried. And I remember what really affected me was I felt like I felt the pain of all these animals who have been harmed and hurt, and I really felt right into that and just released a lot within myself. And overall, I had this deep feeling of being lied to by society, lied to by the media, lied to by commercials, because growing up, I never knew that there was an alternative. I mean, I grew up and I didn't really like meat, especially red meat. I remember the last time that I think I ate beef was when I was in grade 4 and I ate a McDonald's cheeseburger, and I got food poisoning and it like traumatized me, and then I was scared of meat, and red meat never really digested well within my body, and I felt like the whole journey of food just always felt like a challenge, and I didn't know that veganism or a plant-based diet was an option. So when I came to discover that, I felt like, why are we all being lied to when there are other options out here for us? And you know, as I moved into the plant-based diet, I felt so much more connected, mind, body, and soul. It was the most beautiful and healing journey for me, transitioning into veganism, giving myself permission to eat whatever I wanted. And I felt this new sense of inner peace. I felt happy and grateful to be friends with fruit again, right? Because fruit seemed to have had this bad rap. Like, don't eat too much fruit, it's a lot of sugar, and you know, don't eat like big plates of anything really, like cut the carbs. And I felt like as soon as I moved into a plant-based lifestyle, I had this new level of freedom in my life. And it was so, so beautiful, and I am forever grateful for really following my curiosities and uncovering more and more of that for myself. And I would say when I switched onto the plant-based diet, the major like benefits that I received was mostly an emotional transformation. Finally making peace with food, finally making peace with my body. And it was like developing a new level of trust with my body. Like, I trust you, body, to intuitively guide me to what I feel like eating, and I'm going to trust that you know what to do with this food. And you know, I had fears around gaining weight and things like that, and I just felt like through the plant-based diet I could just trust myself. But then there's also this sort of negative aspect of things, and that is perfectionism. So perfectionism is something that I have worked through or struggled with, I suppose. It's been a challenge in my life for quite some time, and I still work through layers of it. And I feel like as soon as I kind of entered into this world of plant-based and being vegan, it was like I started to just collect all these rules. Like, I remember I actually had some pieces, like some purses and things that were leather, and I just immediately purged them from my life, which is good because it was part of my conscious consumption journey as well. But I remember I like harshly judged myself for even having those things. And then I started to harshly judge myself about any decisions that I was making. You know, it felt like with the rules that I created around veganism, I would just like think so much into it, and I would use it to push up against myself. Like, I wasn't doing enough. And for example, when I moved to Italy, there were a couple of times in Italy, I remember in my first 2 years there, where I had ordered something from a restaurant, senza formaggio, no cheese, and really specified that. And I remember like eating the meal, and I have a sensitivity to dairy, so like as soon as I eat dairy, I start to feel congested. And I remember, even though I'd asked for no cheese, I remember getting this plate of pasta one day and it had cheese in it, and I ate it, and I was like, I don't like, I think this has cheese in it. And I remember asking, so no, it's fine, it is vegan. And I know that I ate cheese. And then I remember I just judged myself so harshly. I cried, I like beat myself up about it. When, sorry, now I'm getting emotional. I don't know how many times this is gonna happen in this video. And I judged myself so harshly for it when it wasn't my fault. And this happened like another time too, and there was just a lot of judgment around being a perfect vegan. And it was like, the deeper I went, the more things I could find to judge myself on, down to like the clothes I was wearing and all sorts of different things. It just felt like it was this huge challenge. And then, you know, I worked through that and I decided to be a little bit lighter on myself, right? And through that journey as well was also when I had minimized my life and moved to Italy, and I saw how much judgment I received through just talking about minimalism on my channel. And then if I showed the internet that I bought a new sweater or something like that, people would just send me DMs on Instagram and just, you know, like, oh, I thought you were a minimalist, like, why are you buying stuff? I was just being questioned for everything. And over that time, I developed what I would say like a fear of the internet, essentially. And sorry, I didn't expect this. And to be quite honest, I feel like since then, I have carried this fear of, you know, sharing more of my journey with you on YouTube because of the mean comments that I received just from being myself. You know, it's been a beautiful lesson, but what I'm saying is it hasn't been easy, because I think back to that girl, that version of Zoe who was in Italy and had just come out of an abusive relationship that she kept a secret, right? Had to deal with a court case. Like, it's in my book, Beauty and the Breakdown, for those of you who have read it. But, you know, I was sharing from this place of, I just want to build community and build friends, because I didn't have very many people in my life who I felt like could understand me, and I just wanted to share with people so that they could understand more about themselves and start that journey of self-inquiry. And then to receive those types of comments about the self, it was challenging. But I mean, bless all the triggers, because now I feel like I have a thicker skin, if you will, and I've learned to really just honor myself. But are still some fears. Like, obviously I'm emotional right now because there's fears about sharing this with you, because I fear what might come of it, because I know the internet isn't always a kind place. I mean, the majority of you are so kind and supportive, but yeah, it's not the nicest thing when you roll into your comment section and there's a lot of hate in there. And I remember that chapter of my life when I felt so vulnerable and I was working through so much personally, and how much the hate of the internet really enforced some of these personal aspects of the self that I was working on. So through the journey of veganism, I worked through a lot of the depths of myself and the perfectionism, and I just realized all the ways in which I was super hard on myself, even when things like weren't my fault, when I accidentally ate cheese or something like that. And so I started to loosen up on myself, which was really great, because I just then found a new level of freedom in myself as I worked through my layers of perfectionism and how that was showing up. And I really loved the journey in Italy of being vegan, because it was quite easy for me to be vegan in Italy, because order pizza without the cheese or tomato pasta. And the vegetables in Italy are just so abundant and so vibrant. And then I moved back to Toronto, and I would say that things were a lot easier being vegan in Toronto because I had these supermarkets. Whole Foods is just all the abundance that you could want being vegan, all the magical like treats and everything like that. It's just super easy. Prior to moving to Bali, a couple of things. One is that I had an Akashic record reading with Vivian, who I always recommend for, you know, past life regression or Akashic readings. She's such a magical being, and she had told me, you are going to eat fish again, so trust yourself in this. And I remember thinking like, what? I'm going to Bali, like it's going to be so easy for me to be vegan. I know they have so many vegan restaurants and all of that. And she said, just listen to your body, listen to your body. I was like, okay, didn't think too much of it. And my intention for moving to Bali, right, this chapter of my life, was to really be in my body. It's something I've always struggled with on levels. I feel like I live so much up here and not in here. Since I got to Bali, I've had a lot of lessons in health and a lot of lessons in being with my body. Some of which have been like manifesting a severe case of ringworm on my legs, which I healed. I got in a couple of accidents, one where I had to get stitches in my leg, and I've been healing that. I've also been healing my scoliosis. But I've also been dealing with some internal health things, which to be honest, I have not shared because they've been very scary for me. And it was like for the first time in my life, you know, as I set this intention to get more in tune with my body, I realized how much neglect I've put on my body because I've been so focused on working and producing and creating. And what I mean by that is just, you know, things like posture, things like tuning into when the body feels tired or the body needs a break. But for the first time in my life, I felt fear for my health while being here. Health is wealth, and if you don't have your health, you don't care about anything else. And there's been a couple aspects of my health that I've struggled with, more specifically in the last 2 months. Stuff that I haven't even shared with like the people that are closest to me or my family, because it's been scary. It's been scary. And it's scary because I think what I've come to understand is when something in your health, you know, goes off course, or what you know it to be, is you feel, or I personally have felt deeply, like my body is abandoning me. My body is abandoning me in different ways. And yeah, and in this journey, I guess, of really trying to understand what it means to be in my body, I have started to let my body lead the journey for me. What started to show up in my first couple of months here in Bali is I started to crave salmon, fish. And I've had this before in the past, and if I'm being completely transparent with you guys, there's been times in the past 5 years where I have ate salmon. Not often at all, but there were times when I craved salmon for weeks. I tried everything to not eat it, but then eating it actually shifted things. It was like my body was wanting something, and then I gave in, and then I felt better in my brain, overall in my being, and then I would move on and continue with the plant-based diet. I felt a lot of shame. I felt a lot of guilt around that, and I felt like I didn't really know how to talk about it, so I just didn't talk about it. But I harbored a lot of these feelings around eating salmon. And upon moving to Bali, right, completely different climate, something that I've just like never been used to, I had this craving of salmon show up again. I tried everything, you know, I fasted to reset my body. I went to these like fancy vegan restaurants and ate like fake salmon, fake lox and things, but I couldn't shake it. And there were certain things internally that just were telling me that I'm not at my vibrant, most vital place right now. And I don't, to be honest with you guys, I don't want to go into the depths of like what I've been dealing with my health, because like I said, it's been scary for me, and I'm not seeking any advice from anyone. Like, anyone in the comment section. I'm solely wanting this journey to be led by my body, the internal compass that the body is. And so in the last month, I started to incorporate some fish back into my diet. And from that, I have actually noticed the biggest difference in those health issues that I was dealing with. I just overall feel stronger and healthier in my body, and my digestion is a lot better. My skin is a lot, like everything has gotten better. Sorry, my memory card was full, so we're back here again. And I think where I left off was letting you know that I have noticed significant changes in my health since honoring my body. I don't really know where to go from here and explaining this to you guys, but I grew up eating a lot of seafood, and I grew up on an island. I have a Nordic background, and if we're looking into the ancestry of things, like fish is a large part of the diet. So, there are different ways in which I've tried to make sense of this. I've tried to understand it, because I feel like with veganism, it so much becomes this identity that you grasp onto, and anything that doesn't fit, let's say, under that label causes the judgment. And the beginning of my vegan journey, I remember I wanted everyone to be vegan. Like I said, I felt like I was lied to. I uncovered this truth, and I wanted everyone in the world to know that they had other options and that everyone should be vegan. And at the beginning, I tried to convert people. Like I sent people documentaries and all sorts of different things. I wanted everyone to become vegan. I wanted everyone to know the truth. I wanted everyone to know this. And then I sort of moved through that part of like needing other people to show up a certain way. And I started to just convert people to being vegan, I guess, like people around me, or could people started to become more open to plant-based diet just because they saw the positive changes within me. And I noticed that just by being who I was what created the change for people. And I really just appreciated that, and it just gave me a lot more permission to just rest easy. If people are going to follow that pathway, good for them. But I also realized that it's not actually for everyone, and you can't force people to do things, or you can't force people into a diet. Like, everyone's health journey is unique to them. And I really got to know that through this journey. And I think following my internal compass and guiding me back to incorporating a bit of fish into my diet really showed me that even deeper, as everybody's body is different. And as you navigate different transitions in your life, whether that's moving to different places, whether that's, having different physical ailments show up, or different health things show up for you, you're naturally going to need different things to support the body. So I really feel like the journey of veganism or living a plant-based lifestyle really taught me that health is a journey, and it's unique to each person. We just need to follow our internal compass. It's just like anything else in life. If you let your heart lead the way, it will show you, right? But I think what I had to learn as a big lesson was getting the identity out, because anything that crossed this identity of being vegan, I was like, I just disregarded it. Like, no, that's not the truth. When really my body, this vessel that loves me unconditionally, was calling for something different, and I just wasn't answering it. I did everything I could to ignore it, to push it aside, just because of this idea that I had that, if I'm gonna eat plant-based, like, I can't have fish. That can't be something in my diet. I still love eating plant-based. It's like what feels good to me. But as I've noticed through this recent chapter of healing my body and healing what's shown up in my body and navigating it, is that I just need to trust myself. And there's a lot more that I would want to share with you guys. I just felt like I had to get this off of my chest because, like I said, authenticity, transparency, I just wanted to be honest. And my battery died at the end of this video, so I am sitting here about to edit and just closing off the video. I wanted to say thank you so much for all of you who watched this video in its entirety. I honestly don't know what looks like. I feel like it's messy, it's emotional, it might have even been a bit disorganized, but again, just moving through these different layers of perfectionism. And my intention in sharing this was just to give any of you out there permission to listen to your bodies in different ways, to allow that internal compass to guide you in whatever you might be navigating in your life, whether it's health related or not. Just trust yourself and allow your body to teach you things. Just sending you so much love, and I will see you again soon. Bye.